Greetings everyone, welcome back to Nick's Mods. The Thornatus V9, one of the last icons of Bionicle Generation 1. It's easy to dismiss as just the land version of the Jetrax T6. Similar function, roll cage, and shaping, even a similar driver. But it's one of the few things I remember fondly from the Legend Reborn, and it does have its own charm separate from the Jetrax. But in a movie that abandoned the character's mostly organic nature in favor of toy accuracy, this self-propelled chariot is one area where the fiction and reality don't line up. The in-universe Thornatus is huge, with space for several characters to hitch a ride. But the plastic one is a bit spindly in places, and only really made to support one figure. So after modifying a few Glatorian, I got to work on this too. I think I started with the back, adding a few fins and thrusters. At least those are the first pictures I have. This area will grow much more cluttered eventually. One of the biggest worries when modding is finding the pieces you want in the right colors. You saw last time how far some are willing to go, but tan is actually a pretty common color, especially in the earliest days of Technic construction. Sometimes I wonder if the Dust Rubber Rider would have been produced if some of these molds weren't also used in the Star Wars droid figures released that same year. Kind of funny how tan was so absent for the better part of Bionicle's lifespan, only to be so prominent at the end. I even worked in some old school Technic panels, the cool ones with all the holes. On the front I mounted a Skull Warrior mask, and then a Skull Basher / Scorpio mask, as if Thornatus found some poor ancient Glatorian's actual metal skull exposed by the Desert Moon's shifting sands and used it as a hood ornament. Could there be any greater humiliation? I expanded the dimensions of the skeleton, the vehicle I mean, replacing many Technic lift arms with longer ones, and adjusting the angles of some of them. I gave Thornatus' seat some cushioning, and most importantly, I added several places for other characters' feet and hands to attach, including handlebars on the roll cage and a footplate behind each second wheel. If I just wanted to touch up the Thornatus, I could have stopped here. But I didn't. I kept adding more stuff. More connections, more fins, more panels, more sharp pointy bits, more length, more width, more colors, including dark gold, speckled black silver, almost every shade of brown, and a bit of dark red to connect visually to Thornatus. I put a more fearsome skull on the front that can actually open and close, that has literal headlights in its eye sockets, and right behind it, a place to change the Thornatus' oil, or whatever it uses. I threw on larger headlights cannibalized from Furno's jet machine. I even plopped a Cordac blaster with a laser sight on top of the Thornax launcher and places for a gunner to grab the turret. I like to place Attackus up here since he and Thornatus were both working for Velika. I just couldn't stop piling more things on. It's not completely out of character though. Thornatus' Thornatus is described in fiction as tougher than average. You could interpret this as others being more stripped down versions of the official set, or go the way I did, beefing his up. As for Thornatus himself, he's not too different from his official design. Slightly taller, a bit more organic in places like my other Glatorian mods, has a heart light. It's really nothing you haven't seen a dozen times already. As I continued modding the other Glatorian, and their increased size started to catch up to the Thornatus, I ran back into my original problem. Though to a lesser degree this time, as these characters at least now had plenty of new spaces to cling onto. And if you go with the official smaller figures, oh yeah, now this is more like the movie. But at a certain point over the years, my tastes have begun to change. While this is just cohesive enough to work, and might be my most impressive Bionicle mod scale and detail-wise, featuring molds from almost every year of G1 and beyond, it is a bit much. Okay, a lot much. In adding so much to it, I've obscured what made the machine so special and iconic 15 years ago. Some of my Glatorian mods are over-designed, and this tank is a chief example of that. I've since parted with these characters, having acquired second copies of the original figures and come to appreciate and even prefer their simplicity at times, including this second Thornatus I got. Sure, it's not as big, but it's less visual noise for the eyes to take in, and a sharper, more distinct shape overall. So yeah, I think I'm good parting with this one too, but I wanted to at least show it off because I had a blast making it. That's the whole point of these mods, I think. You may have seen my Glatorian mods appear on Duckbricks' channel recently. Well, it won't be long before you see this baby there too, and I hope you enjoyed this look at it. Okay, I swear we're done with the Glatorian mods, 99%. The rest of the year's mod content is mostly going to be Chima stuff. That's it for today. Check out my books on Amazon.itch.io and my Patreon page to get videos like this early, your name in the credits, behind the scenes content, a patron Discord server, signed copies of Planet Ripple, and maybe even your own LEGO Rewind episode. See you next mod. Doodles!